So, good morning and welcome to everyone joining the Bar Council webinar. It's great to have so many people joining us this morning. I know that some of you are in the process of setting up your own mentoring programs, and others are barristers about to become mentors on the Bar Council program, and yet others will become mentees on this or other schemes. So I hope you're all able to benefit in some way from this webinar. So, let me do some introductions. I'm David Garvey, Managing Director of the developers of MentorNet. And I'm delighted to be joined this morning by Alexander Cisneros and Onyeka Onyekwelu from the Bar Council. They will be doing most of the presenting and will give you an overview of the Bar Council's mentoring scheme, which is launching next week. But just before I hand over to Alex and Onyeka, I'm aware that some people will know more than others about what the MentorNet platform does. So I thought it would be helpful to give a very brief introduction. Onyeka will take you through how the Bar Council is planning to use MentorNet, but in a nutshell, MentorNet helps mentors and mentees to communicate with each other and to develop their mentoring relationship in a secure environment. It allows mentors and mentees to publish profiles about themselves and to message each other securely, and it allows them to share and collaborate on documents and to keep logs of activity and contacts. And finally, it significantly reduces the time needed to administer a mentoring program and provides administrators with a wide range of management information to help them understand the engagement of individual mentoring relationships and to build an overall picture of the effectiveness of the mentoring program. But I think that's enough for me. So I'm now delighted to hand over to Alex, who will introduce the mentoring program that is about to launch at the Bar Council.
Hi there, so my name is Alex Cisneros, so I hope you can hear me now. I am the Safeguarding Officer for the Bar Council and have the pleasure of running our social mobility projects. So I'm just going to run through a brief 3 headers, which will be why we have a safeguarding policy for this particular scheme. The second header will be good practice around safeguarding and how to make sure that this scheme works effectively and safely for children. And the third will be what to do if there are concerns, whether using this particular portal or in any sort of outreach or social mobility work that you're undertaking with the bar or indeed hopefully any other organisation. So briefly, why we have a policy in place at all. Well, due to the nature of our work, we interact with young people quite regularly, so therefore obviously safeguarding and child protection policies are important, so that not only can we protect children and make sure that they are protected in an environment which is safe, but also so that they can get an effective and good experience from whatever policy that we're running. The type of interaction we have with children at the Bar Council is that we run social mobility projects. Those can range from internships, workshops, university application assistance, all the way up to quite hands-on opportunities like e-mentoring. So we have a wide range of exposure to children, and we find that this is the best way to give them the opportunities and the knowledge that they need to succeed in a career at the bar. So all staff at the Bar Council are aware of the important role that safeguarding plays in this work. We have 2 specific safeguarding officers, myself and my manager, who's the head of Equality and Diversity at the Bar Council. We have both undergone training offered by the Royal Society for the Protection of Children, which gives us an insight into how safeguarding policies can be developed and how they can be maintained. So if I move on to good practice around how one might make sure that their exposure to children is beneficial and safe. So the first thing to do is to realise is that actually safeguarding is very much common sense. So whereas someone might not have the confidence perhaps to do something which they would usually do in everyday interaction, they should realise that usually most people interact with other people and young people in a completely harmless way. So it's really an opportunity to give you the confidence to continue working in the way that you are. More specific points are perhaps that as a mentor, or indeed anyone working with children, you're there to give young people an enthusiastic and constructive experience. So there are certain inappropriate behaviours which may fall short of a safeguarding concern, but may actually be inappropriate. For example, giving unconstructive feedback for a particular part of their work So although this doesn't fall into the threshold of perhaps safeguarding, it's important to realize that actually any interaction with children should be undertaken with the appropriate sort of mindset. That mindset is, of course, thinking of oneself as a role model and behaving accordingly. So that includes not only maintaining the correct sort of engagement with the young person, but also maintaining your own composure. So understanding that in presenting to young people, you are a role model and they will take from you more than just what you say. It's about how you approach young people. And the ground rules basically that we give out when we're doing training such as this for mentors is to treat young people with dignity and respect as you would an adult or indeed anyone really. I think that's important, and whereas there is a safeguarding policy in place to guard against inappropriate behaviour, if you set the ground rules as being treating them with respect and dignity at all times, I think that's the best way to go. The final thing to say about good practice is that if there is ever any concerns, to inform the Bar Council as soon as possible, because of course, although I'm talking about safeguarding now, the mentors and other people listening may not have undergone the extensive training that we had the benefit of. So without sort of doing an investigation yourself, the best course of events is to always contact the Bar Council if you have any issues. And that brings me on to my third and final aspect of this talk, which is what to do if there is a concern. Now, our safeguarding policy says that, yes, the first step should be to contact the Bar Council, but there are certain steps that you might want to do beforehand to really work out what the issue is and whether there is an issue. So the first step is to make sure it's a priority. If you notice something that you find suspicious or inappropriate, the first thing to do is to make it a priority. That sounds obvious, but where, for example, a student has joined you for a mini pupillage or an internship, it can often be the case that you're in court or doing something else with a client. We would ask that if you notice something odd about an interaction that you've had with a child and you notice that something may be wrong, that you make that the priority, because of course the welfare of a child is increasingly and incredibly important. So we should make sure that that is the priority. The second aspect should be to ask the child about what's happened. You should listen constructively and carefully to the concern, taking notes where appropriate, but at all times maintaining sort of an awareness, because it's often quite a difficult subject for someone to talk about. To that end, you shouldn't ask leading questions to try and elicit a particular response that you want. The final step and the third step is that having recorded this interaction with the child to make sure you know what's going on, then you might like to contact the Bar Council. We're always here. We've got a safeguarding number which we can provide if there are ever any concerns about any interaction with a child that you have. So those are my whistle-stop tour of Bar Council's safeguarding procedures and policies. If you have any questions, please do contact us. We have, as I said, 2 dedicated members of staff who have extensive training in safeguarding. This new portal that we're opening, the e-mentoring portal, is an extension of our commitment to safeguarding. We like to give opportunities to students in a safe and constructive way. So this is a great opportunity to do that. Please do stay in touch and please do utilize the portal if useful. I'm going to hand over to my colleague Onyeka Onyekwelu, who will run through the portal itself and the procedure that we're following.
Hello, so I will be taking you through the e-mentoring scheme and the reasons why the Bar Council is investing in creating this portal for students and barrister mentors. Okay, so the first thing to note is that the Bar Council created its social mobility strategy in 2013, and this strategy identified 3 key barriers to fair access to the profession, which were cost, confidence, and contact. And the e-mentoring scheme is a means of breaking down that barrier by facilitating the contact, direct contact between student mentees and barrister mentors at no cost at all, thus making access to the profession equal for all individuals who want to access the career at the bar. But not only that, it also equally helps us to achieve a to provide public legal education, and help students have a greater understanding of the law. MentorNet allows us to do that because it's a platform that will be familiar to students, because it's like social networking platforms that they're used to, such as Facebook or LinkedIn. Now, moving on to the next slide, I'm just going to talk through the things that we noted in our pilot and the reasons why we invested in a better platform this time around. So the first reason was we had some issues with safeguarding, and obviously this is a paramount priority for us, as already outlined by Alex earlier in this session. And we thought that it would be I guess, useful to invest in a platform that allowed us to monitor the contact between barrister mentors and student mentees, but also it was paramount for us to keep the personal details of each user confidential. And also we have this platform that allows us to vet and kind of block any abusive or insulting language which we find is inappropriate for contact between the two users. The next thing that we really wanted was being able to notify the users of when they have messages or when we can contact them. So that means that they never miss correspondence. Much like any other social media platform, they will receive a notification via email, or as soon as they log onto the platform, they're able to see it at the top bar, much like every other platform that they've used. So looks do count, and it's a very attractive platform. It looks professional, and that's something that we were very keen to invest in. And most importantly, for us and for you, it's paperless. Everything is done online, not only the processing itself, but all the messaging, all the uploads. It's all done through the platform. It's quick, it's convenient, and it's easy. So next slide. How does MentorNet benefit you? Firstly, like I've already said, it's convenient. We were speaking about breaking down the barriers to the profession, and this is a means by which students of any background can access the profession from anywhere, whether it's Coventry, whether it's the Midlands, it doesn't matter. They can speak to a barrister directly, and that's something that we're really keen on providing a platform or facilitating the relationship for them to do that. The next important thing is being able to provide access through informing students of events that are going on at the bar, whether it's open days or information evenings, or even our bar placement week, which will be taking place from Monday to Friday next week, which is when we're launching, and being able to inform students well in advance of when to put in applications, and that way they don't necessarily have to go through an intermediary to apply in future. Next is being able to inform students of hot topics that are going on at the bar and are being discussed. So such things such as, jurisdiction review, or any new legislature that's coming into place, that can be informed, or the students can be informed of that well in advance. And it's user-friendly, most importantly, so it's easy for both the barrister mentors and the mentees to get a hang of fairly quickly and easily. Moving on to the eligibility criteria for students, most importantly. So this is open to students on the next slide. This is open to students from years 12 to first year undergraduates. For students in years 12 to 13, they would need 5 A stars to Cs, and that must include maths and English GCSEs. And for undergraduate students, you need 300 plus UCAS points, which is the equivalent of 3 Bs at A level. You need to have a genuine interest in pursuing a legal career, and that's something that we hold as a must. The mays, however, are that you attend or previously have attended a state school, and lastly that you've received some form of government support, whether it be financial or otherwise, and we'd like to see evidence of this in your application form. However, that's all under review, and if you don't necessarily meet the last two criteria, we will take into account any other circumstances or factors that you outline in your application form. Moving on to the next slide, how exactly does the e-mentoring process work? Now, firstly, you would apply online. Like I've said, it's a purely paperless application process. So the application is processed online, and once we have vetted your application, if we deem that you are suitable to be a candidate on the mentoring scheme as a mentor or a mentee, then you will receive verification via email. You would then have login details which you can then use to access the platform. However, we would advise that as soon as you log in, you change your details so that it is your personal details, and you do not share those login details with anyone else. We would then advise that you read the guidance and any other documents that we have on the Documents tab, and that's really for your own knowledge and understanding of the platform. And then you can initiate contact with your mentor or mentee, and feel free to surf the platform as you choose. So I've talked a lot about what the platform can do, but also I've talked about how attractive the platform is. So on the last slide, I just want to take you through what the platform itself looks like. And I'll go through the bubbles step by step. On the left first, at the top, we have notifications. So like I said, you'll receive notifications as you would on any other social media platform, and that would appear at the top. And if you have 1, 2, 3, it would be there in red. So that's where you'd get that. And how you would appear on the platform would be the next bubble down, and it would be your first name initial, your last name initial, and your status on the platform, whether you're a mentor or a mentee. So for instance, if I am a mentee, I would be OO mentee, for instance. Okay, next bubble down would be your user profile, and that would be your status, whether you're in college, sixth form, or university. That would appear there. It wouldn't identify what university you're in, because we think that would then track back to the person itself, and we're trying to keep your details strictly confidential. However, if you do state what subject you're currently taking, that will appear there too. Next down would be a short biography. That would be what you filled in your application form, and we would insert that there. Lastly, on the left is the skills tab. Much like LinkedIn, where you can put in insert skills in bubbles, that would be a chance for you to I guess, inform your mentor or mentee about your qualifications to date. So whether it's IT skills or a project management qualification that you did at sixth form, then you'd be able to insert that there and inform your mentor or mentee of that. On the right-hand side now, taking you through the tabs at the top, on the farthest right and the first bubble is the events and opportunities at the bar tab, and that's really an opportunity for the Bar Council to, again, like I said before, inform all users of open days or mini pupillage opportunities that would be on the website but may have skipped your attention. So it's an opportunity for us to directly contact with our make direct contact with our users. Next tab from the right would be forums, and this is an opportunity for like users to communicate with one another. So this can be an opportunity for you to, I guess, share the progress of your mentoring relationship, but not only that, to also share the progress of your use on the platform, or what you've discovered, or what more you'd like to see done. Again, there's another opportunity for you to do that on the tab to the right, to the left of that, which is the review tab, and that's an opportunity for us to get direct feedback from users to know how your relationship is going, but also for us to keep a track of how the system is doing in terms of facilitating your mentoring relationships. Next to the left is the Documents and Photos tab, and that's actually for users to share information with one another. So we would put resources tab to the farthest left on the drop-down menu. However, if you then, for instance, filled in a CV from the templates that we've put down, you can then share that with your mentor or mentee and get direct feedback and assessment on how it looks, or what more you could do to your personal statement, CVs and such. So that was, as Alex said, a whistle-stop tour of the bar mentoring schemes, bar mentoring services, e-mentoring scheme, and I do hope that this was useful to you all. I've left some contact details on the final slide after this, which is just an opportunity if you have any questions arising from this webinar that you wanted to ask, please do feel free to contact us directly. Thank you.
Thank you, Onyeka. This is David again. So that concludes the formal part of the webinar. I'd like to thank both Onyeka and Alex for sharing with us all the Bar Council's mentoring scheme. And I'm particularly excited to see MentorNet being used as part of such a prestigious mentoring programme. I'm personally looking forward to working with the Bar Council to ensure its success. I'd also like to thank all of you for attending. I do know that some of you will need to leave us at this point, but we've had a few questions throughout the presentation, and so I thought it would be useful to share some of these questions with Onyeka for those people who are able to stay on the call. The first question is, how do you go about recruiting your mentors, and how do you keep them engaged throughout the programme? Onyeka.
Okay, so the recruitment of the mentors, we thought that it would be important to have mentors who are familiar with the academic system as it currently stands, so are familiar with UCAS applications, personal statements, drafting and the such. So we've reached out to young barristers, most especially through the Young Bar Hub and the Twitter account. But not only that, we've also made contact with the INS and asked them to publicise it on their newsletters and call for young barristers or barristers who are familiar with the academic process to apply. So that's really our application process. And then we would read through the applications and see whether you were fit in line with the Bar Council's criteria of what barrister mentor should be. And then how we would keep you engaged really throughout the process is to ensure that we're providing you with the right information to, I guess, facilitate the relationship in the right way. So providing you with CV templates, covering letter templates, what you might want to be asking your mentor about, timelines and timetables for scholarship applications so that you're aware of when those are. And that way you are well informed the whole way through your mentoring relationship, and you come from an informed perspective when you're given advice rather than just guessing the whole way through.
Great, thank you. Another question which I think relates to your entry requirements asks, do you mean that no student that has received a private education can be part of the scheme?
Well, this scheme is really targeted at those individuals who may not have the opportunity otherwise to have direct access or contact with a barrister mentor. And we do make sure that it is targeted at the right individuals. However, if you are going to a funded school, a private funded school, and you receive a scholarship, then being able to demonstrate that and convey that properly in your application form and outline your circumstances is what we would encourage. And we would definitely look at every individual application and take it on its merits and decide in that way rather than having a blanket requirement for every application.
Great, thank you. I think we are running out of time, so maybe the last question I have is for someone who would like to promote this scheme to students via her blog pages. Do you have any objection to this? And if not, do you have any e-marketing promotional material you would like her to use? So maybe some of the answer could be taken offline, but maybe just a general question about promoting the scheme to students.
Yes, of course. We would encourage you to promote it to students. The application process is open from the 4th of July, which is the Monday coming up, and it's open for a month until the 1st of August. So please do try and promote it through any means possible, whether it's your blog or through newsletters or Twitter posts. Do feel free to do so, because we do want to, like I said, open up the bar to any individual really who wants to access it, and it really is an opportunity for students who may not otherwise have considered this profession as a viable option to be made aware of this opportunity for them, and also to have their questions answered to make an informed decision whether it's right for them or not.
Great, thank you, Onyeka. I think that probably is all we have time for now. If anyone does have any further questions, either about the Bar Council's mentoring scheme or about MentorNet, then please contact us by emailing david@sfgsoftware.com, and I'll direct your question appropriately. So that concludes our webinar, and thank you very much to everyone for attending.